Sand play carries on the tradition, expressing a cosmology or worldview. In fact, it was first called the world game. In the Indian game of snakes and ladders, that was later changed to chutes and ladders when it was published commercially in the West, the players ascend toward heaven on the ladders of virtue and fall to hell on the snakes of vice. So, virtues, self-restraint, compassion, some examples of vices, of course, we're pretty familiar with: greed and arrogance and envy. And why do the snakes go down rather than up in the caduceus in my dream? This is a question we'll take up later. Please keep it in mind. In this board game, then, there are 100 squares in all. 90 of the board represents the ordinary world, and the top 10, the world of heaven. The aim is to go from one to the other, from lower to higher. But heaven here is moksha, release from the suffering of life. It's enlightenment-centered, and so one-sided from Jung's perspective. In terms of Edinger's ego-self axis, the emphasis is on the self. In the game, as in some forms of Hinduism, the ego is completely identified with the snakes, which lead down. The game in Sanskrit is called Mokshapada or Nirvanapada, which literally means the stage of release. At the top, the guru sits in the boat of release with 2 disciples. The ladder ends at the very feet of the guru. This reminds me of the Egyptian solar barge that transports the sun from the west to the east overnight. Jung painted a picture of this in his Red Book. While researching this game, I happened to find out that Janeshwar, a 13th century Siddha, was in our lineage. He had invented the game. Salman Rushdie, in his novel Midnight's Children, writes about this game. The games of snakes and ladders captures the eternal truth that for every ladder you hope to climb, a snake is waiting just around the corner. And for every snake, a ladder will compensate. But it's more than that. Implicit in the game is the unchanging two-ness of things, duality of up against down, good against evil, the solid rationality of ladders, balances, the occult sinuosities of the serpent. In the opposition of staircase and cobra, we can see all conceivable oppositions: alpha against omega, father against mother. And in my own life and imagination, India versus Jung, they compensate, as Rushdie says.